Good afternoon once again, students. Hope I am audible to you. Raise your hands and let me know. Or raise your hands. Hurry up. Write in the chat box. All right. All right. You may lower your hands. Thank you. We were discussing Euler's theorem, right? And in Euler's theorem, we were having x to the power phi n is equal to 1 mod n, provided x and n are not multiples of each other. All right. X, or you can say x is not a divisor of n, right? So phi n Euler's quotient function we have discussed. And we have taken example check all the example. GCD, we have taken 4 and x is equal to 4 and n is equal to 165. So we have written GCD of x and 165 using Euclidean or Euclid's algorithm. That would be 1. All right. So if it is 1 only, then we can say Euler's theorem is applicable. X and n must not be divisors of each other. Means their GCD must be 1, right? If GCD is 1, then we can say that we can implement Euler's theorem on x and n, right? So that is a necessary and mandatory condition. X and n must not be divisor of each other. Means they must be co-primes. They must be co-primes. For in case of co-primes, we are having GCD of two positive numbers as 1 when they are co-primes, right? So we have calculated the Euler's quotient function of 165, that is 515 and into 5 11 and 3 and 5 11, that is equal to 2 into 4 into 10 equal to 80. So we have considered 4 to the power 80 mod 165 is equal to 1. All right. So this gives rise to two more statements, that is x to the power phi n mod n is equal to 1. All right. Another statement from Euler's theorem. This is one statement from Euler's theorem. And one more, multiply this 80 by any number, any positive number a, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, anything, any a, the result remains same. 4 to the power 80 into a mod 165 equal to 1. That is x to the phi n into a, phi n into a mod n equal to 1, or x to the power phi n into a is equal to 1 mod n. All right. So these are you can say we have derived 4 statements from three more statements from this statement. We were having x to the power phi n equal to 1 mod n. From this statement, we have x to the power phi n mod n equal to 1. From the same statement, we have x to the power phi n into a equal to 1 mod n. And we also have x to the power phi n into a mod n equal to 1. All right. So they can be written as four different statements. Like, लिख के बता देता हूँ आपको how x to the power phi n equal to 1 mod n, x to the power phi n mod n equal to 1, x to the power phi n into a equal to 1 mod n, x to the power phi n into a mod n equal to 1. All right. So all these are the statements of Euler's theorem. Clear? This is clear? Raise your hands. We are having this one statement that has been given by Euler's, and from the same statement we can derive statements which are similar to the same statement. All right. Fermat's theorem. Fermat's theorem is also called a special case of Euler's theorem. Why it is called a special case of Euler's theorem? Because in this case, the formula is same, x to the power phi n. This is the formula of Euler's theorem 1 mod n. Euler's theorem. But if n is 1, n is a prime number. If n is prime number, then if n is prime number, this implies that phi n is equal to n minus 1, right? So Fermat's theorem becomes x to the power n minus 1 is equal to 1 mod n. All right. Right. Provided x is not divisible by n. Provided x is not divisible by n. Clear? So Fermat's theorem says that, as in case of Euler's theorem, we know that x is not a divisible of n, but that condition remains as it is, but an additional condition is there. Additional condition says that n is a prime number. N is a prime number. So if n is a prime number, then phi n becomes n minus 1. So this is the Fermat's theorem. X to the power n minus 1 is equal to 1 mod n, right? So this becomes Fermat's theorem. Wait for a moment. So let's take an example for Fermat's theorem also. As I told you, it is a special case of Euler's theorem. In Euler's theorem, x is not divisible by n. So this condition remains as it is. The statement of Euler's theorem remains as it is. The only thing is that n is a prime number. N is a prime number, and when n is a prime number, we have already seen in Euler's totient function that Euler's totient function becomes n minus 1. Phi n becomes n minus 1. So we have inserted this value here. All right, and it becomes x to the power n minus 1, 1 mod n. So let's take an example for this. X is not divisible by n means x is not congruent to 0. X is not congruent to 0 mod n. All right. So let's assume that x is equal to 3 and n is equal to 5. Let's take some small values so that we can demonstrate our example. So x to the power n minus 1 is equal to 1 mod n, that is x to the power n is 5 minus 1 is equal to 1 mod 5. X to the power 4 is equal to 1 mod 5, and x is 3 here, sorry. X 3 to the power 4. 3 to the power 4 is, that is 81. All right. 81. So you can check that 81 mod 5 is equal to 1. So this is a result that we can get easily by taking some smaller values like 3 and 5. Although when actual encryption algorithms are implemented, very large values of order 2 to the power 56, 2 to the power 40, 2 to the power 32 are used. All right. So you need not to worry about them. They have to be calculated by the computer only. System will calculate that. So from this is just an example. Let us assume both sides for this formula. Let's multiply both sides by x. Multiply by x on both sides. X to the power 5 and plus 1. Multiplying with x will become plus 1 on left side is equal to multiplying x on the right side in this equation. X to the power, sorry, x mod n. So phi n is n minus 1 in case of Fermat's theorem, when n is a prime number, plus 1 is equal to x mod n. You can also write it x to the power n is equal to x mod n. All right, x to the power simply n. So this is another result for Fermat's theorem. So these two, result 1, result 2, both results can be considered as statements for Fermat's theorem. All right, this equation 1 and equation 2 both can be considered as statements for Fermat's theorem, but provided in this case and n must be equal to 1. That is, they must be co-primes to each other. X and n must be co-primes to each other. First thing. Second thing is they are not, means they are not divisible. मैंने बार-बार इस चीज को repeat किया है कि they are not divisible by each other. Not divisible means they are co-primes to each other, right? First thing. So second thing is that n is a prime number, right? So when they are co-primes, x and n are co-primes, and n is a prime number, n is a prime number. In that case, we can have two statements for Fermat's theorem, right? So this is all about Fermat's theorem. Any doubt in Fermat's theorem? Raise your hand, students. Just take 2 minutes and see this. If you have any doubt, and then you can ask. All right, hope this is clear to everyone. You can write in chat box or raise your hands again. This is clear to everyone. We have discussed about Euclid's algorithm, coprimes, Euler's quotient function, Euler's theorem, Fermat's theorem. Is this clear to everyone? Hanji. Yes or no? Hanji, Ujjwal, Sukhpreet, Saurav. Abhinav Awasthi, Ashpreet. Is this clear? All right. So let's move to another topic, that is multiplicative inverse. Multi inverse. So multiplicative inverse, it is required for Chinese remainder theorem, and we will do that theorem in our lecture when all students will be there. So before going to Chinese remainder theorem, we must know what is multiplicative inverse. Basically, it says that x is not congruent to 0 mod n when n is prime, provided n is prime. All right, x is not congruent to 0 mod n means x mod n is not 0 when n is prime. All right, so if we say that x mod n is not 0 when n is prime, there must be some number that would be multiplied with x, all right, to get some value 1. All right, so that number is called multiplicative inverse. It is represented as x dot y mod n. X dot y is congruent to 1 mod n, right? congruent to 1 mod n. So in this case, y is multiplicative inverse of x. Clear? Y is multiplicative inverse of x. You can also write as y is equal to x inverse mod n. All right. Let's take an example. We say that 3 is not congruent to 0 mod 5. So if we say that 3 is not congruent to 0 mod 5, then 3 must be congruent to some 1 with respect to some other number. So let's, what that number could be, 3 into 2 is congruent to 1 mod 5. Say that mod 5 is equal to 1, right? 6 mod 5 equal to 1. 6 divided by 5 will give remainder 1. So this is correct. All right. This can also be written as 2 equal to 3 inverse mod 5, or we can also write it 2 is multiplicative inverse of 3. Is it a correct statement? Anyone? 2 is a multiplicative inverse of 3. In this fact, it is correct statement, but it is not a complete statement. Why? Because 2 and 3 are just two numbers. They are they differ by 1. If हम कहेंगे 2 और 3 multiplicative inverse हैं, कैसे हैं? Alright, it is an incomplete statement. We 2 or 3 are multiplicative inverse of each other with respect to what? 2 is a multiplicative inverse of 3 mod 5. This is a complete statement. 2 is a multiplicative inverse of 3 and 5. And vice versa is also true. We can also say that 3 is a multiplicative inverse of 2 mod 5. We can also say that 3 is a multiplicative inverse of 2 mod 5, or 2 is a multiplicative inverse of 3 mod 5. Right? So this is multiplicative inverse. This y is called a multiplicative inverse. All right? That makes it congruent to some value 1. All right? So this is the concept of multiplicative inverse. They are used in Chinese remainder theorem also, or multiplicative inverse are also required for encryption algorithms. ठीक है, जो आप आगे RS से DS से जो भी करेंगे, ठीक है, तो उनमें they are required. Another example could be 5 is not congruent to 0 mod 9, or we can say that 5 into 2 is congruent to 1 mod 9. So this could be another result, another example you can explain in case of multiplicative inverse. Let's take some example. Answer this question, students. Answer all question first.